What is going on, everyone? It's Mike back again. Another boring day at Goodison Park today. Not much to really recap on. I'm just going to bullet point it and then we'll talk about it as we go. Sheamus Coleman signs a new deal. Anana's going to Arsenal. Branthwaite's going to Man United. Somebody's now signed a letter of exclusivity. We're now sponsored by Castore, which is the 7th biggest shirt sponsorship deal in Premier League history, which eclipses anyone else that they've sponsored. So Everton will be playing in wet look, tight fit t-shirt shirts next season. So a bit of a quiet day, really, John. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, apart from that, there's all kinds going on. It's going off. It's all going off. Yeah, interesting day.
Where do you want to start? Should we get the easy news out the way?
Yeah, I think we should start with the Sheamus and the transfers, and then we go in deep with our friend Dan from Roma.
Yeah, okay. So Sheamus Coleman has signed a further extension to his contract at Everton. The video came out earlier today. And it is what it is. We don't really have much choice because of PSR. He will give his all to the club. It'll obviously help develop the younger players, and I don't think there's much really to say on it, John, apart from, it's good to have him around the place for another period of time, isn't it?
I think it's inevitable that he was going to sign the contract, but I also think someone's had a word with him and say, look, when Patterson's fit, do your best to coach him along and help him and give him some experience. Because listen, for me, Nathan Patterson should be better than what he is at the minute, or at this point in his Everton career. I think Patterson should have pushed on a bit more. I know he's had injuries, granted, I know that. And I think it's a sad state of affairs when I can sit here and probably say Sheamus Coleman is probably the best right back at the club still.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
That's the predicament the club's in. So listen, I hope he does help Patterson along the way. I don't see Sheamus Coleman playing every game. Obviously this season we haven't got Europe, but the way things are looking at the club we will have soon. So, I think he's just got to help him along. And I also think when this contract is up, 12 more months, I don't think he'll sign after that. I think he will probably stay in and around the club and become part of the coaching staff, whoever the manager may be.
Yeah, I think it's spot on. Right, let's talk about transfers then, John, because we are in the midst of a bit of a battle. It's turned into a bit of a triangle in the last 10 hours, 6 hours, really. We knew that Manchester United were keen on Branthwaite. We knew that they were pushing for the move. It was a bit of who would blink first between Arsenal and Manchester United. Man United did. And it might well have cost them the transfer of Branthwaite, because what it essentially means is they've offered Everton 35 million, which is, if I'm being honest, has knocked a lot of Evertonians off, including me. I'm not happy about it at all. He's agreed a deal in principle with him or with his agent, which again I'm not great with, but I get it happens. But then Arsenal have came forward, it appears, and I've asked what the services of Onana are. Everton would rather sell Onana to keep Branthwaite. It really could have screwed Manchester United into either one, paying us the amount of money we want, or two, Everton saying he's not going this window for PSR. We can comply if we sell Onana. It's been really, really interesting day. What do you think happens with these transfers?
I have no problem with Onana going to Arsenal. Bayern Munich and PSG are also very interested in Onana. So it could be any of them three clubs. Everyone knows my thoughts on Amadou Onana. I just hope that getting rid of some of the fringe players if we can, cutting the wage bill, which we've done since the season ended, and selling Onana will appease them PSR restrictions that we have against us at the minute. If that was the case, I don't think Branthwaite's going to push for a move. But what I'm going to say about Branthwaite, who the hell does Jim Ratcliffe think he is? He's come into the Premier League like Billy Big Bollocks, saying he's not going to basically give Everton what they value Jared Branthwaite that. He's come in. 35 million quid. Is he having a laugh when they spent 85 million on Harry Maguire? Now, I'm not being funny. For me, in my opinion, Jared Branthwaite is going to be better than John Stones in years to come. He's probably one of the best English centre-halves in the league at the minute, only probably behind John Stones, who, by the way, hasn't been brilliant in the season we've just finished. Who does he think he is coming in here? Billy Big Bollocks throwing £35 million bids around. Sorry, not happening. And I know it's the opening bid, and I know these sort of clubs, they always will, sort of soften the mood and see, what's what. And they probably expected that bid to be rejected. Let's be honest about it. So they'll come in again, and then they're going to have to come in again. For me, I see Everton selling Jared Branthwaite for 50-55 million with add-ons, in my opinion. But for £35 million, what sort of insult is that? What sort of insult is that putting onto Everton Football Club? And we all know we have these PSR restrictions, and Jim Radcliffe's probably tested the water knowing that Everton are in this situation. But that is laughable. And as you quite rightly say, he's irked a lot of Evertonians with putting a bid in like that. I'm sorry, but Jared Branthwaite does not go any day of the week, any month of the year for £35 million. I think it's an insult to Everton Football Club. I think it's an insult to Everton fans as well, that sort of bid like that.
You can't hear. It has knocked me. It's irritated me. It's put a really sour taste in my mouth towards Manchester United, and I'm fairly confident. I'm fairly confident he's put a fairly sour taste in Everton's mouth. I think the other thing that I would say is if they're going to offer 35 million, that's fine. We'll take 35 million, but you've got to give us, Scott McTominay,
Bruno Fernandes, Harry Maguire,
Fernandes, Marcus Rashford.
It's an insult. Proper done my head in that. £35 million. It's an insult to Everton fans and Everton Football Club. How on God's given earth does he think that he's going to get a talent like Jared Branthwaite for 35 million quid? See you, mate.
Mate, he's irritated me, actually, since he's came into Manchester United, because he came out with this comment about building the sort of Wembley of the North, and that all the taxpayers were going to pay for it. But Manchester City get handed a Commonwealth Stadium. What about Everton, who've had to spend £600-700 million of their own money, plunging themselves into debt, breaking PSR every single season? Yet he thinks the government are going to give him the money to build a stadium. I think he's a joke. I really don't like him, and it's putting me off Manchester United, if I'm being honest.
He's very egotistical, isn't he? He's come in with this massive ego because of who he is and what he's got and what he's worth. And he thinks people will just bow down to him by acting like that, putting a stadium in the North, like the Wembley of the North, wanting us to pay for it, then putting stupid bids in for talent like Jared Branthwaite. Yeah, totally agree. It's gone down in my estimations, and I actually think he's going to irk a lot of more people on the way.
Yeah, completely. So let's get into the other one, Onana. Now, obviously, if Everton sell Onana by the 30th of June, I don't think there's the same issue with PSR to sell Branthwaite. And then, if you were Everton, do you say to Jared Branthwaite, right, we know that you've been offered £100,000 a week or whatever it is by Manchester United. We'll offer you 75 grand a week or something. Sign a new deal with us. You can probably go next summer or the summer after, but exciting times are coming. And Onana goes to Arsenal. Manchester United lose out, rightly so, because I can't stand them now. Onana probably ends up, I mean, it's mad me saying this, but he probably ends up being a really good player at Arsenal because he probably fits the team really well, what they need, you know, that bit of legs alongside Declan Rice. You'd definitely rather Onana go, wouldn't you?
All day. I'll drive him there for nothing. All day. I mean, people keep saying this to me, and you've said it a few times, and look at the clubs that are linked with him, so obviously the talent's in there. I've said all along, I don't think he fits Everton's mould. I think he's at the wrong club at the wrong time in his career, and I hope he proves me wrong, but I honestly don't think he's as good as what a lot of people think he is. I really, really don't. And, you know, if I'm proved wrong and he does it somewhere else, again, I'll eat humble pie like I have with Sean Dyche this season. But I've seen nothing in an Everton shirt to convince me that he's going to be a world beater in years to come. I just don't see it. So if Onana going, and as I said before, few players off the wage bill, depends on what we get with Onana. If it can just appease these PSR rules for another 12 months, and it means Jareth Branthwaite staying at Everton again for the next season, as you say, give him a new contract and put a buyout clause in that contract as well, because all we're seeing is Everton value him at. So I don't think there's actually a buyout clause in Jareth Branthwaite's contract. Get him to sign a new contract, give him £75,000, £80,000 a week, and say if someone comes in at the end of next season and they meet the evaluation for you, then we will gladly wish you well and see you on your way. But that's we need to start. Now it looks like we're going to be getting taken over. We've got to start being ruthless. Run the club ruthless. Stop being a soft touch. Stop laying down and getting our bellies tickled. And bring the right people in to not allow that to happen. Bring the right board in. Put release clauses in contracts. Don't give them stupid wages, but keep the player happy for another 12 months. That's what we've got to start acting like now. A proper business, a proper football club, run it properly and stop being a soft touch.
Yeah, let's talk about soft touches and talk about running the club properly. Everton have announced today a multi-year deal with Castor or Castore, however you pronounce it, for £20 million a season. Now, just to put this in perspective, Aston Villa recently cancelled the deal that they had for £3.8 million. They have a £5 million deal with Newcastle. Villa's new deal, for comparison, is with Adidas and pays them £17 million. So Everton to get £20 million sounds fantastic. However, there is a bit of a caveat to this. Their branding is going to be the first shirt branding around Everton's brand new stadium. Those photos will go global. Those photos will go everywhere. So I'm not saying I'm disappointed. That's probably the wrong thing to say. But I do question, maybe just for this short period of time, maybe they could have got even more. I don't know. But it's going to be the last pictures of Goodison Park is going to be Castor, and the first pictures of Bramley Moore are going to be Castor. Do you get what I mean?
I think when you look at it in hindsight, I think Everton are the 7th in the list of kit deals in the Premier League. Obviously, the top 6 are the ones that we all know about, and they're the ones who are higher than us. So I think whoever's done this deal was absolutely smashed it. And straight away this morning, I was on social media slagging it off. 20 million, as you've just said, it's going to be plastered all over the new ground. But then when I thought about it, and you sent me some figures of what other teams are sponsored, like Newcastle sponsored by the same company, they get £5 million. We're getting £15 million more a season. So when you look at it like that, and you look at it in hindsight, whoever's done this deal has got a good deal for Everton, to be fair. 7th in the most sponsored, as I say, in the Premier League. Whoever it was always going to be plastered all around Goodison for the last season, all around Bramley Moore for the first season. It was always going to be like that. 20 million's not a bad deal when you look at what we were getting in the past off Hummel. So it can only be good, you know, and as you quite rightly say, it's going to be bandaged everywhere. It'll be all over America. It'll be all over the Far East. It'll be all over England and what have you. I think it could be the start of something good. My only concern is Aston Villa ending their deal early because it looked like the players had jumped straight out the shower and run straight onto the pitch. Now, I hope they've worked hard on the material because the material that Aston Villa were playing in, hence why they ended the deal early. Surely for 20 million quid, they've got to get something right with that and not put us in the same situation. Listen, I'm not bothered if I sweat or not, but it just doesn't look good. And obviously the players weren't comfortable in it. And that's why they finished this sponsorship deal early. So they need to work on that side of it as well. If the kit is to be believed, what we've all seen, actually not a bad kit for their first kit, to be fair. Doesn't look that bad. I hope they also do a little third or fourth kit for the last season at Goodison and sell that. You know what I mean? I hope they've got something in the pipeline for that because the home kit, there's nothing in there for the history of Goodison Park and for the history of Everton. So there's many things that they need to look into now they've signed this deal. Whoever's got this deal over the line, for me, has played a blinder.
Yeah, and you know, the rumours are that it was Colin Chong, who, if I'm being honest, since he's came into this football club, I don't know him personally, and obviously I don't know many people that know him really, but he actually seems to have done a decent deal. He's delivered on the stadium, he negotiated on the stadium, he was part of that process. He's managed an absolute sinking ship at times at the top. If he's agreed and done this deal, I can't fault him.
Colin Chong gets a lot of respect from me for basically running Everton on the day-to-day running of the club. As you quite rightly say, sorting the stadium out. He's been the voice for the fans. Every now and again, he's done an interview. He's put it on Everton's website. He's got this kit deal over the line. If you quite rightly say, he was behind it. While Moshiri is nowhere to be seen. For me, Colin Chong has been the shining light at Everton Football Club from the boardroom and, you know, the things we don't see around the club for the past 12 months. He's absolutely smashed it. So he gets massive credit from me.
So let's talk about if he's going to be made redundant then, John. And Everton have agreed, it appears Farhad Moshiri has agreed an exclusivity deal with Roma owner Dan Friedkin, 59 years old, American entrepreneur. His father was a multi-billionaire, passed on the family business to Dan. Dan is a passionate pilot, of one of only 9, I think, that can fly in some country in essentially in an order. So he's a bit crazy. He's done films. He's been involved in filmmaking, hotels, football clubs with Roma. Since owning Roma, he has developed a good squad of players, brought in some top managers. They've won the Europa Conference League, and then came runners-up in the Europa League. I think it was last season. He has a pedigree. He's worth 6.1 billion, and actually that's only disclosed on his businesses and not actually his whole entire family estate. So it could actually be even more. This guy is buying Everton on an all equity deal, which essentially means, my understanding is, that there's no debt. This could be massive for Everton Football Club, John.
Well, he's worth 6.1 billion minimum, as you quite rightly say. That's all we hear. That is enough to run a Premier League football club. More than enough if he gets it right. If he brings the right people along with him to sit in the stands at Goodison Park and at the away games, a proper board No job for the boys, and I said this the other night, brings the right commercial people in, because as you quite rightly say, he's never really been involved with football clubs, and I think he has one on his portfolio at the minute, which is Roma. But he's been successful in other things that he's done. You don't get 6.1 billion on your own. It sounds like there's no one alongside him, like some of the people who were after Everton. There was one or two of them, like Bellindown, and there was people behind them. You had other people, MSP, they've had people behind them. ACAP, they've got people behind them. He seems like a soul on his own. You know what I mean? Obviously, you might have people behind him, but there's not going to be any in-house fighting. You mentioned this the other night, Michael. What happens if you get 2 or 3 people involved in the club and they all have their tuppence worth and they fall out? What happens then?
Or what happens if what happened with Mashiri? His partner Usmanov has to go away.
Yeah,
his tap's turned off.
Yeah. So basically, he's flying it solo. By our understanding, from what we've read, he's flying it solo. I'm quite excited for this. I'm quite excited for this. He's going to come in, by all accounts, and give Mashiri his 400 million quid, and then he's going to sort everything else out of his estate that he's got, this 6.1 billion pounds. I don't think he has any problem whatsoever passing the Premier League fit test or whatever it's called. I think he flies through that. Within the next 24 to 48 hours, it does seem Mashiri's going to give him the exclusivity rights to Everton. Basically, Mashiri, I've seen a report earlier on, he's dangling the keys to him now to Goodison Park, and he's saying, if you're still happy with the deal we agreed on, basically, if you pass everything, it's yours. It's yours.
Yeah.
So this could be a very, very quick deal to go through. I think it'll be quicker on Everton's side than what it will be on the Premier League. They're not going to rush it through. They never really do. I know they were quite quick with Jim Ratcliffe at Man United, but that, it's Man United. It's a different kettle of fish. We all know the situation Everton at the minute, so it probably will take a bit longer. But this is a deal that excites me. My dad brought something to me before, and maybe you can put me right on it while we're talking about this, or people in the comments can. Let's just say, we hope to pray it happen, that Everton get into Europe. Can we play Roma?
Yeah, so there's a problem with this. There's a problem with this because it's based on the facts are that he wants a multi-club model. And under the multi-club model schemes, they can't play against each other if they've got the same ownership. Aston Villa had this problem with their owners at the start of this season. However, Manchester United have been granted that they're allowed to play against them, or Todd Bowley or Chelsea. One of them's been granted. So it's very much been a case of Villa got shafted and their owner had to sell half of some of his stake in the other club. And whoever the top 6 person was, they got away with it. So, to answer your question, I don't know, and that is because
if the certain clubs got away with that, they've set a precedent now to let some of them get away with it and some not. So again, it's a case to argue. Now, I'm not saying Everton are going to be challenging for Europe in 12, 18, 2 years. I'm not, but it's something to think about, isn't it? And obviously, when we get that far on, which hopefully our football club will be challenging for European places and playing in Europe, then we can cross that bridge when we get to it. Do you know what I mean? Because it's not going to happen overnight. But for me, it's positive.
Yeah, I mean, it really isn't a negative. The way that this has all happened, it really isn't a negative. The fact that this guy has came into this football club at Roma, turned them around, made them competitive, brought in some really good players. I mean, we keep forgetting this. This is a club that had Jose Mourinho. It's got Dybala on a 12-month buyout clause. I mean, that's phenomenal. He's had Lukaku. Tammy Abraham's there. This is a guy that can move assets around. Now, they finished 6th in Serie A last season, which I think is fair to say. a lot of Roma fans would say it's probably disappointing. However, when you actually look at where Roma have been over the last few years, they've done all right. They've been okay. They've competed in cup competitions. You know, they genuinely were runners up in the Europa League, and if they'd have won it, they'd have been in the Champions League. This is a guy that he's keen on, I think, putting Everton back on the map. And he's going to have to because of the investment. If he's going to spend £1 billion on Everton just to press go, then he's going to need it to work. The stadium's a game changer. However, I would think for somebody coming into Everton, wanting to change the game, wanting to put Everton back on the map, I think the stadium might be a bit too small. It wouldn't surprise me very quickly if he brings some level of success to Everton. It would not surprise me if you see Bramley-Moore expanded.
Well, there is scope for it to be expanded, isn't there?
There is. It would not surprise me if this guy comes in and redefines the way that we work, brings in a coaching team that plays a different brand of football. This guy is a winner. This guy is a serial winner in everything that he's done in life. And, you know, I remember making this comment about Mashiri, the fact that, you know, he's a billionaire. He's not a billionaire for no reason, blah, blah, blah. And I was really excited. This guy also has the football pedigree behind him, whereas Mashiri didn't. It was a very quiet shareholder at Arsenal. This guy owns 96% of probably one of the, you'd probably say on brand, one of probably the top 15 clubs in the world. Everyone knows who Roma are.
Yeah. I think when you're coming into Everton, when you're going into any club.
Somebody asked me a question once. Sorry, John, let me just finish this one last bit. Right. Somebody asked me a question once. If there was a football team in Italy that you felt Everton were like, who would it be? I probably would have said Roma.
Yeah. See the comparisons, can't you?
You can.
So if you're coming into a football club, whether it be Everton or anybody else, and to get that football club on the straight and narrow and put it on an even keel, and to pay the outgoing owner a good sum of money.
Yeah.
When you're putting in just over £1 billion, which is what it's going to be to put Everton in that situation, you're not coming in for a laugh. You're not coming in just to throw just over £1 billion round willy-nilly. You're not. You want that to work. You can see scope to expand Everton with the new ground that's coming up, you know, and on the past history that we've got. And listen, Everton are one of the most successful clubs in the country. But when you look at it since the 80s and the 90s, we've sort of fell away. But we're a successful football team. We're a well-known football club. And it hurts me to say this on past history. We need to get back to our former heights, our former greatness. Now, if you've got someone coming in who's going to splash this cash to put us in the black, basically, and to basically start again, right? As I said on the last video I done with you, it's not going to happen overnight, but he knows what he's doing. And I know you say there what you've just said there about bringing different coaching staff in and sort of bringing coaching staff in for him to watch the football that he likes to see. Because we all like good football. We all like to watch good attacking football. We all like to be successful. We all like to see our teams win. The main thing for me is getting upstairs right first.
Yeah.
Get upstairs right. Get the commercial sides right. You know, we haven't even got I was going to swear then, and I know we're cutting that down. We haven't even got a top on sale in the shops yet. The season's being finished for nearly a month. That is shocking. Now, he needs to come in. get the commercial side right, get the right CEO in, get the right board members in, get the right people running the club the right way. Instead of, I've said this again, instead of jobs for the boys, clear the whole lot out. Do you know what? I'd be tempted to give Colin Chong a little role, and I know I've just said it's no jobs for the boys, but I think he's done a fantastic job steering this ship the last 12 months. Keep someone there who's got an insight in the club. You can't go in and go willy-nilly and rip the whole place apart, because then you're starting afresh and you've got no ears and you've got no eyes anywhere around you. You're in that big situation on your own with the people you've brought in. So for me, keep someone, even if it's just Colin Chong, to be the eyes and the ears and fill him in a bit of how the day-to-day club, the running of the club goes, and keep them there for 12 months just till they get their feet under the table, until they get the feel for the club and the feel for the Everton fans, and let them see what needs to be done. Let Colin Chong say, well, listen, these people will have already done their due diligence and their homework on Everton Football Club. Otherwise, they wouldn't be coming in and spunking £1 billion on it. But instead of ripping it all apart, just keep someone there for 12 months just to slide you into the club and be there for someone to talk to if they're struggling. What's this? What's that? What do we do? What would you have done? And I know that's an old ongoing joke. People used to say to Bill Kenwright, what would you do? No, Colin Chong's been fantastic for this football club for the past 12 months. So just keep him there. Let him be the eyes and the ears, the day-to-day running of the club, and let him point out to these owners who are going to come in, this needs fixing. This needs fixing. What do you think of that? What do you think of that board member? Does he stay? I wouldn't keep him. Let him go. Bring your own people in. Integrate these new people into the club while you're still there, and then let them take over completely and wave Colin Chong a goodbye. But we need someone there to interact with these people on a day-to-day basis when they first come in.
Spot on. I'm gonna leave you with one last thing that I saw that I thought was interesting of Roma, and that's their manager. Do you know who their manager is? No. It's Daniele De Rossi.
Never heard of him.
So he played for Roma, I think it was about 500 times. And I do sit there and think, Leighton Baines has just got his pro license.
Yeah, no.
Could you imagine?
Yeah, I don't think someone who's going to spend that much money on a football
club. Leighton Baines.
Yeah, no, I think that's a long way down the line. Listen, he might bring Daniele Rossi with him, and he might bring Tammy Abraham with him,
and Romelu Lukaku.
Well, he's only on loan there, isn't he? I think.
And Dybala.
Yeah, he's at Chelsea.
Yeah,
but he's on loan.
It's exciting times, this, but we've got to get it right with this appointment. And was he our first choice when we heard of one of the bidders who had a Saudi royal family member around them, and we heard one of the bidders where there was 2 billionaires behind them, but they were consortiums. They were not 1 or 2 people. That was a group of people. Whereas he's driving solo, Daniel Friedkin. For me, the more you look into it and the more you read between the lines and the more you digest it and look at the bigger picture of it, for me, he's probably one of the best contenders in the running to buy Everton.
Well, he is the best contender because Farhad Moshiri looks like he has picked him, John. So, hey,
yeah,
he's the man with the plan. Right, guys, we are going to depart this land. Make sure you hit your like and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed the thumbnail to this video as well, by the way, because I must say, at about 6:30 tonight, I was sending John ideas of thumbnails, and we've gone with that. So yeah, John, you got anything else to end with? Have I missed anything?
Now, this possibly could be my last video before I fly out on Monday. So if there's any news next week and Michael wants to do a video while I'm away, I will jump on from Spain, but probably going to be my last one. I'm out tomorrow for my wife's birthday, and Sunday I will be busy. So look after yourselves, and I will be back next week, hopefully with some more good news regarding our football club.
Spot on, John. Guys, make sure you hit the like and subscribe video. Longer video tonight. Me and John are about to smash some people at FIFA. Keep smiling, up the toughies. Peace.